go. And there we are. Okay, everybody. Well, welcome to the Train Fearless Challenge orientation. I'm going to be going over a ton of different stuff, and we'll go over just the basics first. And what I'll do in the video is I'm going to put some marks as far as like where we start talking about certain things. So if you want to know just about specific things or have a reminder to it, I'm going to post it up on YouTube. In the notes section, I'll mark down some times as far as when we talk about what. That way, if you need a reference back to anything, it's going to be a real quick reference for you guys. You can just go to 5 minutes in the video or 4 minutes or 8 minutes, wherever we start talking about certain things. So first off, thank you all for joining up for the challenge this summer. I know it's been a funky time, and we're going to really make this one about a few things. We want to make it really about accountability. So that is the first part that I kind of wanted to chat about. So you guys have your entry. It's your $49 entry, and that's just going to help with some prizes, and we're going to do our grid night. I'll go over that date here in a bit. We'll do our end of summer barbecue and to toss that together. And then we have our community buy-in. That is $100 cash. Please bring that to the gym, and that is what you can earn back. Again, in a little bit, I'm going to go through exactly those two things. And we will be using a lot on MyZone. Now, the MyZone setup will be a minimum amount of points. Again, we'll talk about that with the community buy-in. But I'm going to be issuing out another little challenge here through MyZone, so you guys can track where you're at. And that's actually how I'm going to track where you guys are at in the challenge. So I'm going to switch the screen over here, and let me flip this here. And there we go. All right. Can everybody see that, or do you still see me?
Still see you.
Still see you.
Oh, hold on. There we go. Okay. Everybody see the slideshow here? Yeah? Cool.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. All right, guys. So some important dates. We're going to go through. We start, we have started this week as far as collecting all your, all your measurements. You getting your MyZone set up in. We'll go through and we'll officially start with next week, and we'll go all the way through until just before Labor Day. Okay. The testing dates. Testing's all next week. So we're going to be going through. We've got all of our baseline testing, and then finishing week is going to be that last week just before Labor Day. So all the dates are right there for you. We got our grid workout. That's going to be August 7th. And don't worry about writing all this stuff down, guys, because I'm going to be sending out a PDF for you. So you're going to have all of it. All right. And yeah, we'll have our end of summer barbecue, September 12th. This is a little bit up in the air, just really depending on what's going on. So we are going to figure it out kind of as it goes through. I wrote down September 12th, but like I said, we're going to figure it out. And I'm we're going to see. So next up, some of our performance measures. So the performance measures for today, or for our challenge, are going to be for next week, an 8-rep max low box squat. So we're going to get back into doing some squatting. You'll have a 500-meter row and a 90-second straight leg sit-up test. Okay, real basic fitness test for this one. I want to rebuild up some of that good leg endurance that we had prior to the shutdown. We're going to work on some sprint work and then also some core. That 90-second straight leg sit-up test, that's going to be a little bit tougher than you think. And then next up, sorry, I don't know why all my slides look so funky. Oh, going back, here we go. So we are going to have our 2 champions that we're going to go through. We've got our transformation champion and our performance champion. Now for the performance champion, there's not going to be a direct competition like we have done before. It's going to go through more of who is our benchmarks, who is our benchmark improvement from there, okay? For our transformation, it's going to be the usual stuff. my zone points, my zone effort points, attendance, who's coming to the workouts. We will have our weekly coaches challenges. We're going to do some goal setting and overall improvements. Your accountability contract, which is something that we did last challenge, and I'll go through that in a second. And then overall transformation. Now, I will say this, especially with the diet portion of this, a before and after photo are going to be very, very important for you guys to do, even if you just keep it for yourself. To have somebody take it for you, do a front, do a side, do a back, even if it's just for self-reference. I've found that the before and after photos do tell a much bigger story than anything on the measuring tape or on the scale. All right. So again, the performance challenge or the performance champion is going to be, the benchmark improvement, but also we're going to take into account kind of where you start from too, because a 20-pound jump on a 300-pound 8-rep max is going to be very, very much tougher to accomplish than a lighter starting weight and building up from there. So we will take that into account for the performance champion, and also the weekly coaches challenges are going to play into that as well. Next up, the accountability contract. Now, this is something we did last time, and I kind of made it optional. This time, we're going to make it mandatory. Your accountability contract is an agreement between me and you as far as what you need to keep yourself accountable for. All right. You got to whatever. And I put a few examples down here. It's like, what do you struggle with? And there's going to be tons of different stuff for different people. I need to be held accountable with doing my food prep every week. So that was one that actually somebody did last time. And what they would do is they do the food prep, they would take a photo of it, and they would show me that photo when they came in on Monday. Things like that. Some of it was attendance. Some of it is going to be, we're going to be using the RP app, logging in your food, logging in the food. Now, the consequences here will be a little bit of punishment, just like, doing calories on the skier or something like that. But also part of this is going to be a part of the community buy-in. Your accountability contract is going to be your own personal contract to stay in the challenge. So we're going to figure that one out individually. All right. Next up, the community buy-in. So this is going to be the $100 cash buy-in that we're doing. Now it goes into the pot and you can earn it back at the end. Now, how you have to stay in the challenge and what we're asking you guys to do. First off, you got to earn 600 My Zone effort points every week. Very easy to do if you're making it to the gym 4 days a week and maybe a little something on the side. Okay. So a real base level 600 My Zone effort points a week. Next up, you got to fulfill your accountability contract check-ins, meaning every week or every 2 weeks, we're going to do a check-in and see how you're doing with your accountability contract. And that is whatever we decide between me and you, something you struggle with that you need to stay accountable for. And we're going to make it so you have to have proof. You have to have something that you'll be able to show me that you've been doing it. Like I said, some of it might be just logging in the food on the RP Diet app. Some of it is taking a photo of doing XYZ. Some of it is I want to go on a run. Okay, pull up Strava. Show me your phone, that your Apple Watch data that showed that you went on 2 runs that week. So something like that, that's going to hold you to your accountability contract. And then you have to complete the coaches challenge every week. Real easy to do. Okay. Now, say you have a rough week. Say something just doesn't go your way. You don't make it into the gym, blah, 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 blah. You have an option to get back in. It's a $30 buyback that goes back into the pot and you're back in and you have your chance to win your $100 back. Okay. Now, if you drop off, you decide not to do the buyback in. Basically, your money is staying in the pot, and whoever is in at the end, that's going to be redistributed to those people. So there's 10 people that start, 2 people drop off. That $200 is distributed to the 8 people. Okay, so that extra $200. So you guys actually might make a little bit of money off of this thing if you stay in the challenge for the entirety. If nobody drops off, cool. Everybody gets their $100 back at the end. So yeah, that's kind another little different aspect to this this challenge for this time around. Okay, now I've gone through this slide before in previous ones, but I just want to go through each one. Okay, so first off, strategies for success. Put down the phone. What does put down the phone mean? Put down the phones means comparison is terrible. Don't look at the Instagram models. Don't look at the, so-and-so's having this success or so-and-so has that success, okay? You don't know what they're doing. You don't know their lives. And for a lot of those people, it's their job. It's their job to do that stuff. So you cannot compare yourself to these unrealistic expectations of what people achieve doing certain things, okay? It's just not, not a healthy thing, and it's not going to get you anywhere, okay? Next up, naysayers and jealous bitches. This is my favorite one. A lot of people are going to talk down or go like, oh, you're on a diet, or oh man, or if you go out somewhere, or you hang out with somebody, they're like, oh well, you don't want to ruin your diet. And it's just you do get this, encounter this a little bit of those are the naysayers and jealous bitches. They just wish that they would be able to have some form of self-discipline to be able to do what you're trying to accomplish. Don't let them get to you, and just do your own thing. Okay. Next up, the 80-20 rule, meaning it's not 50-50, it's not 100 and 0, it's 80 and 20. Do it right 80% of the time. If you mess up 20% of the 20% of the time, you're still doing a pretty darn good job. But here's what you can't do. You can't do half and half. Half and half is not going to get you anywhere. Meaning you can't do half a diet. You can't say, I'm going to eat really good on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and probably Sunday, I'm going to do terrible. You're not going to be successful, okay? Also, what you can't do, you can't go super hard in the paint right away. You can't do 100% to start. You go too hard, too fast, and you are going to drive yourself up a wall. You're going to be obsessive, and it's just not good, and your stick-to-itiveness is not going to be there. All right, the percentage of failure drastically goes up if you go. It's like telling a drug addict like, hey, go cold turkey. Rarely does that happen and be successful, right? We're doing that, but with bad habits and sugar and junk food and things like that, right? And this really leads into the next one. Temporary failure is not absolute failure. So just because you have a little mess up here and there, or a little cheat here and there, or you forget your food one day, okay, it's not the end of the world. Do your best to get back on track, and I'll talk a bit about that with the diet, and keep moving with it. And again, this steps into the next one. 5 steps forward and 4 steps back is still 1 step forward. So even if you have a really bad weekend, you can still make steps forward from having a bad weekend. It is okay that that happens. Just don't let it happen over and over again. Okay? First part, the first 2 weeks of this challenge always suck. It's okay. You're going to get used to a little bit different way of eating. You're going to have to start consciously saying no to certain things. You got to say no to certain things. You can say yes to certain things, but you're going to start more often start saying no to, having a few drinks every other day. You're going to start having to say no to some of the junk food that you got around. The real basics of, I just got to shift around a little bit of my lifestyle. Now, the accountability contract will hopefully help with that. Your community buy-in will hopefully help with that as well. So there's a lot of things that I think will help with those first 2 weeks of getting back on track with everything. And then also do not give yourself an out, meaning don't give yourself don't give yourself the regular excuse. I had a rough day. Guess what? There's going to be many rough days. If you always let yourself out or off the hook after having rough days, you're not going to get anywhere. Okay? By staying on it and staying true, even when you have tough days, you can reward yourself later. You can always have that reward at the end of the week, or whenever it is you choose that you can have that bit of reward for yourself. The rough days are not an excuse to, oh, let me just, cheat on my diet and do all this other stuff. You can't look at it like that, because if you keep correlating those two things, the moment you have anything that rough that happens, because trust me, everything right now is rough. Okay. Everything right now is going to be rough. So don't just give yourself that out. Weekday versus weekend. You cannot be perfect during the week and then go off the rails on the weekend. If you are perfect, you run up a little bit of a good consistent deficit throughout the entire week. And then Saturday and Sunday, you overdo it by 1,000, 2,000 calories on Saturday and Sunday. You just undid all the work that you did during the week. All right. So you still have to be somewhat on it during the weekend. Now, you can have some cheats. You can have some other things, a little bit of junk food, those sorts of things, your regular little vices and gripes, but try to stay as consistent as you can from the weekend or weekdays versus the weekend. Okay. And now is the talk, the alcohol talk. We have this talk pretty much every time we've done one of these. Alcohol counts as calories. In fact, alcohol is 9 calories per gram, which is the highest amount of calories per gram than, alcohol is 7 calories per gram. It's higher than protein, higher than carbs, lower than fat. Fat is 9 calories per gram. Does alcohol count? Yes, it counts. Now, here's the way it counts, because I get the argument a lot of like, well, there's only, 100 calories if I have 3 vodka and sodas. Yes, you might have 3 vodka and sodas, and it might only be 100 calories. But the amount of effect that it has on your sleep, not just that night, but probably the following night as well, because it messes up that circadian rhythm. That mess up in sleep is what starts throwing you off the rails a bit. It's not about the calories. It's the effect that the alcohol has on your body. Now, am I saying that you can't have a drink every once in a while? No, I'm not saying that, okay? But just know it's going to have an effect on you. You are going to need to do a little bit of work to recover from that. And mostly it has effect on your sleep. Now, your sleep's extremely important, all right? Muscle does not grow under terrible sleep, and you will hold on to extra fat under terrible sleep. So if sleeping is your problem, maybe there's some things that we need to talk about in your accountability contract to make sure that you get better sleep. It's going to be a huge part of your success. All right. Okay. And now we have come to the diet section. Now, what I'm going to do is in a little bit, I'm going to go through these first few points, and then I'm going to go through the RP Diet app as a little bit of a demo. Now, for our current recommendations for intermittent fasting, ketogenic, and counting macros, here are the things that I found over the years. And I have always tried to look at what are the best things of these things and what are the worst things of these things. All right. First off, intermittent fasting. If you have a very, very sedentary job, intermittent fasting is doable. It's not ideal though. If you have any form of job that you got to be on your feet for certain parts of the day, intermittent fasting is probably not a good idea. Why? Because you're probably going to run out of food and you're going to start chewing up your own body in not the best way. If you have any form of job that's super active or even just relatively active, you're on your feet for more than 3 hours a day, somewhere around there. Okay. I'm guessing everybody's sitting at home. A lot of people are still working from home. So intermittent fasting is possible, but again, I've had my back and forths with it. And I'll talk a little bit about some of the specifics in the next slide as far as recommendations for intermittent fasting. Ketogenic diet. I've had some people have some really good success with it. I've had some people have some failures with it. And I've had mostly a little bit of a yo-yoing effect for certain people, or a bit of a plateau effect for certain people. And what I've deduced out of it is here's why. Ketogenic is great for dropping initial weight. There is no faster way than intermittent fasting and ketogenic diet to destroy fat, to eliminate fat. there is also no faster way to put on some fat than stopping or rebounding from ketogenic and intermittent fasting. I've found a lot of people just get to a point where, you know what, I'm going to shift back a little bit. I'll start adding some more carbs back in. And the body kind of freaks out a little bit. You go from this big depletion and only certain types of food, and you reintroduce those foods, and all of a sudden there's a bit of a jump. There's like a 5 or 8 pound jump after 2 weeks of reintroducing some carbohydrates. So as far as doing a strict ketogenic diet, it's not something I could really recommend anymore. If you want to go a little more higher protein fat, still somewhat lower carbohydrate, but probably nothing less than 30% of your diet, that will be sustainable. Some people's bodies just respond a little bit better to that. But doing the full strict ketogenic diet with intermittent fasting is not something that I feel is very sustainable. It's quick and a fix, but it's not something I've seen anybody be able to hold. There are always outliers. There's always going to be cases for certain things, but just in the long run, I don't see it as being a good longevity type deal. Now, shifting around macros and things like that, yes, there can be a shift as far as doing a little higher protein, a little higher fat, a little bit of lower carb, as far as a change in your macros. So yeah, those are my and then counting your macronutrients. Now, this is the big thing that a lot of people don't do. And it's what I'm hoping the RP Diet app is going to help you do, or at least bring it into focus. And yeah, so let's go ahead and shoot into the demo, and give me just a second. I just have to switch around my screens here. And there we go. All right, so what I'm able to do is I'm going to take you guys through a demo through the app. Sorry, give me just a second, because I'm going to share it with my phone. Okay, can everybody see that? Yeah? Okay. All right, so this is the RP Diet app, and this is the general welcome screen. You'll enter in some basic info and all that fun stuff. So you'll go through, and it says what you'll need. You will need a food scale. The food scale is going to be very important, whether you're doing ketogenic or a little bit lower carb, higher fat. Measuring out your food, it's got to be a must. I find that people are all over the place. Some say, oh, you can do it for a little bit and you eyeball it. I've tried my best to do that throughout the years. Really weighing, it's got to be done if you really want to track down stuff. You can start remembering the weighed portions that you need, but really a food scale is a must. And it's very easy to do, and I'll explain a few strategies of how to do your food scale, okay? So you'll hit continue, and this is where you're going to enter in your basic info, right? So you've got height, weight, birth date, and then you're gonna select body type. Now I had a few people like, well, I don't know what body type I am. Well, you can just kind of pick through and select like, all right, well, what kind of shape? What kind of shape am I? Do I carry most of my weight lower through the stomach? Am I a little more broader chest and still have some love handles or some really loose fat around the abdomen? Am I much more muscle, broader shoulder, more tapered waist, or do I really carry my weight very, very low in the abdomen? So there are a few different types, and you're just going to pick the best one that you think. All right. So, okay, I know when I'm a little more type 1 when I've cut down to my leanness. Okay. Now you'll go to this next screen, and the next screen goes through, and there's 3 different options. There's maintenance, there's muscle gain, and there's fat loss. Now we're going to go ahead and select the fat loss, but these are all options here that you can do. All right. So we're going to go ahead and select fat loss. Oh, no, that's fine. Don't worry about that. And then you've got set your diet goals. Now, if you hit the typical, it says that a typical diet around is, and it's going to be around 11 pounds. Well, we're going to do 8. Okay. Now, 8 pounds, anywhere between 8 to 10 is going to put you on a good track. Now, is that just on track to just lose 8 pounds? No. All right. This is just to help with setup and help you guys progress through everything. All right. So we're going to set it to 8 pounds. And then, we're going to set the date to start the diet. So I'm going to set it on Sunday or Monday, whichever. All right. So I'll go ahead and, I'm going to start it out. I'm going to start it out tomorrow. And I'm going to set my end date to the end of the challenge, which is actually going to be that Sunday right there. Okay. So that's what we have set up for our start and end date. Okay. Don't worry about this page. This is because I previously had this set up. Next up, you got to create a plan. Now you're going to create a lifestyle option. Now for your lifestyle options, this is going to be, you're going to enter in what you do every day. All right. Now it's much easier than you think because pretty much everybody's got the same-ish schedule, and you can copy over your schedule to each one of these days. So I'm going to go ahead under Monday. I'll hit that edit button, and I'm going to put in when I wake up, and I'll just go off of my personal schedule. So I wake up at 4:15 usually, and then I'm asleep by about 10. Okay. After that, you can select how many meals per day you would like, 4, 5, or 6. It does it's a little bit of a distribution between the bigger meals. For me, schedule-wise, 4 works great. And then we have the daily activity level. All right. Now, there are little icons right next to everything that you can click that'll give you a small description right here. This is for mildly active. Your job is quite a bit of sitting at work, but includes some activity as well. I will say right now, almost all of you are going to be mildly active. I would consider myself heavily active. Now, this means you're on your feet nearly all day, very little time spent sitting or standing around. All right. I'm on my feet for 14 hours a day. I'm heavily active. Now, you're asking, what is moderately active? Well, moderately active means you're on the move. You spend more time moving around than you do sitting. So if you spend more time moving around all day, then select this one. If you do not and you sit down most of the day, again, you're going to be mildly active. This is a very important thing because this sets your baseline for your macros for the day. Next up, number of workouts. Well, I work out once a day. And I'll get back to the workout shake here in a second, but your start time, you're just going to pick, which class you come to. I will just say I come to the 8 a.m. class and it goes till 9 a.m. All right. Now, training intensity. No matter what, you will always, always, always select light. Okay. The only time you guys would ever select moderate is if you are running or cycling hard for more than an hour. Other than that, you guys are to always select light. It doesn't matter if it's a conditioning day. It doesn't matter if it's a lifting day or how hard you think it is. It's not hard. All your training intensities are going to be light. All right. Next up, the workout shake. Now, this diet does have the option to help you get in a few more grams of protein and carbohydrates while you work out. Do you have to do it? No, you don't have to do it. You just select no. If you select yes, here's what you can expect. You'll have a shaker during your workout. You can even split it in 2 if you like, as long as you have it either like bookend around your workout. It's going to have a little bit of protein in it. So some form of whey protein, plant protein, animal protein, whichever you like. There's tons of powdered proteins out there. And it's going to have some form of carbohydrate in it. Now, if you'd like to do these on like our conditioning days, you can. If you don't want to do it, don't have to worry about it. Don't do it. You just select no. The carbohydrates are going to be like powdered Gatorade. There's a carbohydrate mix I like to use called Vitagro. So there's a few different options that you can pick from, and I'll show you guys where you can find those once we get into the logging. So again, you don't have to do it. I'm going to go ahead and say, yes, I like doing that as well. So this is my lifestyle tab for Monday, and I'm going to hit save. And I can either go to the next day, or you'll see at the bottom right here, it says copy schedule to another day. And this would make it easy. That's pretty much my schedule Monday through Friday. I don't have to worry about entering any other day. Now, Saturday is going to be a little different. Sunday is going to be a little different. So you enter in, whatever day that you want. And I'm going to go back and I'll see that lifestyle is pretty much the same. Now, Saturday, same deal. Enter in through and go through, I'll select what I'm going to do for Saturdays. Sunday, I do not work out. I'm mildly active. I'm still going to do my bedtimes. I'm still going to do, and this is a one-time setup, guys. You don't have to, well, I usually wake up at 7. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and copy this to Saturday so we can kind of move on. So this is a one-time setup. This will pretty much copy to every single week. And then it gives you the ability to change it every day too. All right. And this just helps you set up kind of what you do every single day. Now, don't worry about, oh, well, what if I don't work out this one day? I'm going to show you guys how to take care of that in a second. You're going to hit continue, and then you've got your weigh-in days. Now, the weigh-in days will help you just stay on track. All right. I've got a MyZone scale in each bathroom. I will put a little card on there, and you got to do your weigh-ins so the app knows how to progress you. Okay. We'll talk about progression here in a second. You can choose a notification time. The app's going to say, hey, it's time to weigh in, but you're just going to pick 2 days. Now, here's what I don't recommend. Don't pick Monday. Monday is the worst day for you to weigh in. Why? Because if you have a bad weekend, guess what's going to happen on Monday? You are going to weigh more than you did on Friday. All right? So do not pick Monday. Pick Wednesday and pick Friday. Or pick Tuesday and Friday, okay? Or pick Tuesday and Thursday. But whatever you do, don't pick Monday, all right? You can do 2 days. That's totally fine. You can do Monday, Wednesday, Friday if you want. I just don't recommend it, all right? Next up, this is the diet, all right? So you've got a few tabs here, and this is on your homepage, and you'll see this. You'll go over and you have meal check-ins, you've got weigh-ins, you got your weekly review, all that fun stuff. We'll shift over to schedule, and this is how you go through and create your meals. All right. You hit OK. Now you can see my schedule throughout the day. All right. So this is on my Sunday. Let's shift it over to a workout day. All right. I wake up at 4:15. Right. And my first meal is going to be within about 30 to 45 minutes of when I wake up. And then I even have a little bit of leeway there too. I've got my protein, carbs, and fat listed, how many grams of whichever in that first meal. And in the second, that's going to be my workout shake. So I've got 10 grams of protein and 10 grams of carb I got to have in that workout shake. In the next one, I got my macros for my 9:30 meal around 3:15 and then around 9:15. Now you're going, man, 9:15, that is a late night. I will talk to you guys about that last meal. All right. So first thing, we talked about lifestyle. Say I'm not going to work out that day. And I know this seems like a lot, guys. Really, once you program stuff in, it's so easy to just go in and change 1 or 2 things because you can copy this every single day. So you know what? Hey, I'm not going to have, I can't work out today. Hit 0, update for that day. Boom. Gives me my new macros. And you'll see that it's a bit less on the carbohydrate side. All right. We'll flip that back. We'll flip that back to that 8 a.m. time. Okay. That easy to do if you're not going to make your workout. Your first meal. Okay. So target protein, 45 grams. Target fat, 15 grams. Target carbohydrates, 35 grams. All right. This works much like MyFitnessPal, except it's going to let you, or it's going to help you calculate exactly how much of each you need. So you're going to choose your foods, And this has the option of basically copying over each meal. So if you eat relatively the same thing for your breakfast or your lunch or your dinners, it's really easy to store pre-made foods or pre-made meals in here. So first step is this step counts all your macros. The basics focus on some special things too. Mostly it's going to be your protein. So you hit under the basics, add food. Okay. And this is a full list of some recommended foods, right? So here's all the recommended stuff that it asks you to do. But I've saved a bunch that I usually do. You can put little stars next to them, but you're going to enter in your protein. So if you normally do chicken, okay, well, cool. There's chicken, or I can do dark meat, or I can do ground. I'm going to have, well, it's the morning time. So I'm going to do eggs and egg whites. All right. And I hit done. And it's going to automatically load up how many of each I need to fulfill my protein and to fulfill my fat and what I have left. All right. So I can have about 3 large eggs and 260 grams of raw egg whites. Okay. Now, here's the beauty of the app. The math is already done for you. 3 large eggs. Cool. I put my egg white carton on the food scale and I pour out 260 grams of egg whites. And that's exactly how much I need, right? Now, say I don't want 3 large eggs. You got this little slider right here, and I'm going to move that down to two eggs. But I'm now 5 grams of protein short. Well, and I'm like, you know what? I'll just do a few more egg whites. Boop. Done. It's super easy to balance, all right? So I'll just pick the foods that I want to eat, and then I go through and I just mess with the sliders a little bit of what do I want where. So you know what, my 1 large egg, that chews up a little bit of my fat. I'm just going to have a shit ton of egg whites. That way I get a little bit of fat. So that is your first step. You pick your protein. Second step, add food. I want some avocado with my breakfast, okay? Because we're going to do me some avocado toast. Cool. I punch in avocado, boom, it automatically gives me a balance. So I can do 80 grams of avocado, and that fulfills my fat. I can say I want to do avocado and almond butter or something like that. I just adjust through what I want as far as doing the sliders again. Step 3, hey, I want that toast. Cool. Sourdough bread, or I punch in, I can do whole wheat, if I can spell. And again, all you got to do is punch it in. It has some real basics for you. All right. But we're going to do my sourdough bread. I love me some sourdough bread. All right. Boom. 1.4 slices. Okay. Or 55 grams. You can actually weigh out your bread. All right. So once I'm done, cool. I have all my macros met. I hit done. And then it gives me exactly what I need to have for that meal. Now you'll see here at the bottom, save food combination. That's a regular breakfast you have. You hit save. You name it, and it's going to be eggs, avocado, toast. Save. So I know that's a breakfast I normally have. It's going to be ready to go for me every single time I want to pull it up. All right. I can even copy this meal. You know what? I do that right here. That's my first meal every single day. That's what I want to see when I pull up my phone. Real easy to copy stuff over. All right. So yeah, there is how to enter in some of your foods. Now, let me go through and show you 1 or 2 things. And I'm going to remove my egg whites and I'm going to add in a other protein. And this is probably the best feature of this right here. Okay. The difference between, and I added in chicken. All right. Now you see, once I added the chicken in, it automatically told me, hey, I needed, sorry, I'm messing up here. I needed 40 grams of protein. I only have 5 grams of protein from that 1 egg. Well, once I add the food, it automatically fills it up and tells me how much chicken I need. Okay. This is the beauty of this app, guys. It does the math for you. So you just got to pick the food. Now you can play with the sliders and all that. Here's another part of the app that I really love. You click where it says raw, you tap it, and it gives you the option for cooked. So you don't have to weigh raw chicken before you cook it. If you have a bunch of cooked chicken already that you prepped up, you just say, I'm going to weigh cooked chicken. Well, the more you cook something, you pull the moisture out of it, the less it's going to weigh. So your raw chicken is going to be more, or it's going to be heavier than your cooked chicken. Same deal if I go over to my carbs, right? And say I want to do brown rice. Boom. Rice was one of those that I was always like rough. It was super rough to do. Okay, where it says raw, I tap it. Oh, cooked. So 150 grams of cooked brown rice. Awesome. I have a bunch of rice already cooked up. I just dump it onto my food scale until I get to 165 or 150. All right. And yeah, and again, you can see it automatically rebalanced how many carbs that I need. Okay. So that is the gist of how to enter in your food. And you just do that throughout the day. Okay. Now, another option that you have when you choose your foods is right here where it says expanded. Okay. Now, where it says expanded, you'll notice a little barcode. Oh, look, it's a barcode reader. Okay, so you can read a barcode. I don't have something with a barcode on it, but you'll scan in your barcode. And actually, here, hold on just a second. Let me get something. I got a protein bar, right? I have these protein bars in the morning. That's something I can add in. So I'm just going to take it, just like MyFitnessPal, and it's upside down. Oh, come on. This might be a bad example because these things just hit the market. Oh, of course you wouldn't. Sorry, bad example. I get free samples from this company sometimes. This one's for sure. Oh, I got to hit back. There we go. All right, so it found my Power Crunch protein bar, and I hit add, and it automatically put in how much I can do. So I can do about 20 grams of that protein bar to fulfill my fat for that day or for that particular meal. So it's a great way, again, that you can just enter in any food that has a barcode, and then you'll have to weigh out how much of it you can get. So that is the basics of entering in your food. Now, the fact that you got to enter it in and the fact that you have to balance some stuff out, it holds you accountable, right? You can enter in whatever foods you want, but knowing that you got to enter this stuff in and you start seeing how much of certain things you can only have or get, it really puts things into perspective and really shows, usually ladies, you don't eat enough protein. You really don't. It's going to really show how much protein that you have to get in per each day. All right. Now that is that's the basics of entering in your food. You'll do that for each day, or say, you know what? I generally eat the same things every day. I might change over dinner. Up here in the top right-hand corner, there's this little page button. It's right underneath my battery bar. So it's that very top right corner. That is a copy lifestyle, copy all meals, or copy everything to different days. Well, I'm going to copy my meals to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Relatively eat the same thing for breakfast, lunch, and maybe change dinner every once in a bit. Okay, cool, done. So if I look on my other days, it's all copied in. And sometimes it's easier to do that. And I'll just, go in and enter stuff like, you know what, on this day, I didn't do chicken. I did my egg whites. Cool. Hit rebalance. We're going to move everything. There we go. And again, you just play with the sliders, right? Boom. Move this back up. It's like a fun little game. It's a little puzzle. Done. Cool. That's how much I need for that particular day. Very easy, very quick to use. The ease of use of this, again, I know it might feel a little overwhelming with me just talking about it and demoing through, but really entering this stuff in and editing it and just pulling it up. And I literally have my phone open. I cook up whatever food I'm going to have for that particular day. And I just pull out what I need. Okay. For, a lot of people are at home. So an easy way for food prep is basically you cook up a few things that you're going to have for lunch. For me, I usually have like chicken and sweet potato. I'll put my bowl on the food scale and I look, okay, I'm going to do chicken and sweet potato. Cool. So I'll add foods. I'm going to do chicken. And then over here, add foods, and we're going to do sweet potato. Okay. Got it. Well, I got some fat, so I guess I can add some avocado in there too. And looks like my carbs a little over. And then right here, it says 155 grams of raw sweet potato. Well, you know what? I already cooked them. They're pre-cooked. So go over to baked. Same deal. Pre-cook that chicken. Tap it. Done. Okay. Now, say you forget to do that. You don't need to go back in. You can just tap the bottom right here where it says cooked versus raw on your saved. And that way it gives it. So I have that page open right there. I take my bowl. I put it on my food scale. I weigh out 185 grams of chicken. I hit the 0 button in the same bowl. I dump in 95 grams of avocado. I hit the 0 out button on the scale again, and I dump in 145 grams of sweet potatoes. Now, I do know there's a few people wondering about vegetarian options or vegan options as well. Here we go. Tofu, right? Soy, edamame. There's tons of different options in here as far as proteins. So there are a good amount of food bank options in there for you to pick from. Okay. Does anybody have any quick questions about logging in their food or anything? Just go ahead, hit the, you can hit the unmute button and just let's try to do one at a time real quick. No?
Ben, do you find that restaurant link useful?
I haven't really used it.
Okay.
I can't say one that I haven't used. So if you hit the restaurant, you can type in, I love Chipotle. So this will pull up all the options that the restaurant would have. So you can actually see like, hey, I'm going to get guac and steak, or I'll get the kids quesadilla. So there are some options for you to pick from, and that will help you balance everything on out. Now, here's the tough thing with some restaurants. A lot of times they just give you the portion. So unless you're doing it to go, and then you can like take it home and weigh it out yourself, I find it a little bit tough to do. What you can do is some of the pre-mades. Here, let me remove this real quick. Some of the pre-made stuff at the restaurant, oh shoot, I'll just pick fast food here. I'll do
Panda Express.
Yeah. There we go. So for this one, you can see exactly what's what. So you can get that to go, and then you can just kind of plug in what you got. So I got the Kung Pao chicken. We did the teriyaki chicken, and then I also had whichever. You guys can see. I mean, it really is pretty darn easy. Oh, I had the orange chicken too. Cool. All right. That's all I can have. Okay. There's so much fat in some of these that I already hit 20 grams. So it's really going to, again, put some things in perspective. A lot of the pre-prepared restaurant foods and fast foods have a ton of fat in them. So you're going to really, really see those pop up. Yeah, that was it.
So does this mean at this point you won't be able to hit all the macros because you hit fat already?
You hit your fat already, so you're going to have some form of leaner source of protein or less sugary carb. So if you hit your fat right away, you're going to need to have a leaner source of protein. The leaner sources of protein, I'll go over that on recommended foods here in a bit. Okay. All right, guys. So that is the gist of the how to enter in your foods through the RP Diet app. All right. Now, it does and it can put together a shopping list here for you. I haven't played with this feature too much. Really, if you're a planner and you want to plan out every single thing, go for it. Hit the shopping list, and you can select whichever days you want to try to shop for, or select this week. And I haven't entered anything in, so it's not letting me do anything. But you can actually pull a shopping list from that. So a few things. And for your stats, basically what will happen is as you go through, you're going to check in for your meals. And it'll ask you if you're roughly at, over, or below your macros. And what this does is it lets you know how you're sticking to your diet. So if you select everything that's over, hey, I've been over my macros. Well, you're not adhering to your diet very well. The higher the adherence, like 80% or above, the better you're going to be doing on your diet. The weigh-ins are going to help track everything. Now, I'll go ahead and switch this over, and I'm going to bring it back to my other screen.
Hey, Ben.
Yes.
Are you going to help us? Like, I know I'm probably an outlier, but for my job, waking up so early, I don't have the ability to eat right when I wake up.
Why not?
Because you can't really eat at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, you can.
That means I have to wake up earlier.
Does your mouth not work?
Not that early.
Well, it should.
But can it be adjusted for that or no?
Yeah, but so you're going to enter in whatever it is on your lifestyle. You'll enter it in, and it'll give you recommended times.
Okay.
Okay. Now, before I get into the diet recommendations and a few things I'm going to have you guys progress through. A great resource is actually now there's a few things I don't agree with on the RP Diet website, but they have a great blog, and there's lots of good general information on there. They're a little bit too much into some of these simpler carbohydrates. I will talk about that here in a second. But for overnight shift stuff like that, KJ, they have some great resources on how you can structure things or things that you need to do. All right. And I'll help you find that.
Right.
So a few strategies. Now for the diet, what will happen at the end of the week is it will ask you what you want to do. Do you want to cut your macros? Do you want to reduce your macros and stay on track? You are only going to select that option for every 2 weeks. Again, I have this all written out, so you're going to have a reference. If you cut too fast, you are going to fail. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of you're not going to be able to take a reduction in macros so quickly. Now, the first 2 weeks, remember I said the first 2 weeks always kind of suck? You're going to realize in the first 2 weeks that you're going, holy crap, this is a lot of food. You actually might see a tiny uptick in some of your scale. Now, this is because those first 2 weeks are going to help train your body to realize, hey, we have an abundance of food. We need to be able to use all of this and stop eating ourselves. And this is going to help ramp up your metabolism. Okay. So providing a little bit, it's not a ton, it's a little bit of excess and proper fueling. You're going to feel amazing for your workouts. You need to sustain that for a minimum of 2 weeks before you progress. Now, once you progress, what it does is it will bring down your carbohydrate intake. Usually your protein and fat will stay relatively the same. You're going to maintain that for another 2 weeks. If you're seeing good progression as far as changes in your body and a little bit of weight loss, I recommend you stay there. If you're not seeing too much change or you're seeing everything kind of flatten out, then you can try progressing again. Again, the app at the end of the week will ask you, would you like to continue reducing your macros, or let me do this for another week to help with compliance and with fueling. So it'll have those options for you up. Every 2 weeks, do a cut. You're going to get to a point that you're like, you know what? I feel like this is a really good balance and I'm seeing some good weight loss. Or you might go into another week and go, you know, I'm kind of hungry. I haven't really seen too much change. At the end of that week, you're going to go back up and you're going to maintain that level of carbohydrates for another week or so and see how you feel off of that. A lot of this is you got to go off of how you're feeling. Again, if you cut too quickly, if you do it every single week, you will fail. You will not make it. All right. You go too short a carb way too fast, it's not going to happen. So again, every 2 weeks, you will reduce your macros unless you are feeling pretty darn good right then and there, less the first 2 weeks, okay, you'll keep it. The first 2 weeks, again, it's going to feel like a lot of food. That's okay. You got to eat it. You have to do it. You got to tell your body and teach your body, hey, I've got a bunch of food for you. It's okay. Burn the shit out of it. Let it go. Just I'm going to keep feeding you, so you need to keep going with it. All right. Some strategies for your foods. Your last meal must, even your second to last meal, must have some form of vegetable in it. People are very bad with their vegetables, even if it's a bunch of spinach, a couple of handfuls of spinach, some broccoli, something that's going to aid with some of your digestion. And it's going to help with metabolizing the protein that you get in. All right. The second thing, try not to combine your meals. So if you have 4 meals, I don't recommend that you do less than 4 meals. Try to keep it at 4 meals. Now, say your schedule makes it really tough to get 4 meals in. All right. Your last and your second to last meal, I'm going to say, is okay if you combine just your protein and fat. You're going to save the last meal carbs just before bed, meaning you got 4 meals, right? Your last meal has, I'm just going to make up some numbers, 55 grams of protein. It has 20 grams of 20 grams of fat, and it has 35 grams of carbs. You can take your protein and fat and go ahead and shift it into meal 3, but you're going to save your carbohydrates to just before bedtime, within 30 to 45 minutes of just before bedtime, okay? Now, your carbohydrate sources. This is a big one, guys. Your carbohydrate sources. I would like you, for your first and last meal, for your carbohydrate sources to be complex. Complex carbs are going to help refuel your muscle glycogen, your liver glycogen, and help you balance your hormones. All right. What are complex carbs? Complex carbs: brown rice, sweet potatoes, whole wheat bread, oats, oatmeal, things like that. Again, I'm going to provide you guys a list. I know this sounds like a lot of info. It is pretty darn basic. It's just a few rules. All right. Now, it has that meal just before bedtime. So say my bedtime's at 10 o'clock. It asks me to eat around 9:30 or so. I realize that's a lot of food to put down right before you go to bed. That's why I kind of put this rule in here. So if you want to do a meal at 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock, like a regular dinner time, dump your extra protein and fat in there, and then save those carbs in that last meal to literally 30, 45 minutes before bedtime. Okay. If you do this one thing, I guarantee you're going to feel better when you wake up in the morning. You're going to have better energy, and you're going to see a difference hormonally and in the ability to utilize all the fuel that you give yourself throughout the day. All right. This has been a big thing I've gone through and researched. I heard the same stuff out of the hormone doctor that I just saw, who's a brilliant doctor, told me a lot of great stuff that I really needed to hear. But it is something that has popped up time and time again. And then also too, I've been able to correlate this with the people that have had the most success using this diet, is getting in complex carbs both in the morning and at night. Okay. So those are my big rules for using this diet. If you're going to do intermittent fasting, complete it during your daytime hours, meaning I want you to have your 2 morning meals and your 2 late afternoon meals, but throughout the day is when you can fast. Fasting leading up to your nighttime, it messes with your nighttime replenishment and your hormones just too much. Okay. So again, having 2 early morning meals and 2 late evening meals would how you'd be doing your intermittent fasting. And that would be throughout the day, you'd have that fast, but you need to fuel in the morning and fuel at night. So your fasting window would be during the day if you'd like to do that. Okay. Other than that, you can follow the schedule that's through the app. It'll take you through, it'll give you reminders. It'll give you notifications of like, hey, it's time to eat, and eat within 30 to 45 minutes of that notification. If you miss a meal or you mess up on a meal, don't worry about it. Just move on to the next one. Okay. That's, again, it's going to be that 80-20 rule. You mess up on one, you forget to eat. Don't try to combine all your macros. Just move into that next meal like the last one just didn't even happen. All right. And yeah, that pretty much does it, guys. That's we covered a lot of stuff. This video will be recorded. Again, I will put notes down as far as when we hit certain things. So you can always reference back to it. And yeah, I'm going to flip this back over. And if you guys have any questions or anything, now is the time to ask them.
Ben, I have one.
Yes.
For the last meal, are they still doing the casein shake?
No.
Yay. All right.
Yeah. No, that was so the thing I've really liked seeing out of RP is that when they initially started with certain things, they had recommendations. Casein protein has been back and forth. If you have any intolerance to milk, casein protein is not a good thing. The slow digesting of it, just the benefits of it were being outweighed from the disadvantages of it. I had a lot of women that were dealing with like acne and things like that, digestion problems for some of the guys. It wasn't a good thing, and it wasn't a blanket recommendation that I felt. And after doing it the first time, I'm like, you know what, this isn't something I can keep recommending. Now, there are some people that still use it and they have great results with it. Jacob eats that stuff every single day. Every day. He has a casein shake at night. As far as I can remember. He may have shifted around stuff. But he was doing that for a long time. I started doing it for a little bit, and man, it was just messing with my stomach. So I decided not to. But yeah, that's no longer in there. Cool. Anybody else?
Then do we all need to pick 8 pounds to lose, or it's individually?
No, I want you to pick 8 pounds. Okay. You're not going to lose 20. It's not going to happen.
I
But
picked
you
4.
need to no. So I want you to pick, the reason I want you guys to pick 8 pounds is because if you pick more, it will progress you faster. Okay. If you pick 8, trust me, I've been playing around with the app for like 2 or 3 months. If you pick 8, it follows a much easier progression as far as cutting down some of your carbohydrates as you go. If you surpass it, awesome. It doesn't mean that you're just going to lose 8 pounds doing that. Look at it as it's a number I'm having you guys put in to help control your diet as you progress along. That's it.
But I know this is probably mostly for me, because I'm the only one that gains weight at the gym. What should I set my stuff at?
You know what, KJ? Why don't you try the maintenance first?
Okay.
Okay, do the maintenance first, and hold that and hold it steady for like 2 or 3 weeks, just to get your body used to consuming that much again. Yeah, eating again. You know, it's a regular thing you have to do. Yeah, get your body used to doing that again, and yeah, we'll take it from there.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else? Anything? Nothing? Does anybody feel overwhelmed?
I just am like, I think that I'm gonna gain weight.
Okay.
That much.
The first 2 weeks or so,
Uh-huh.
you may see a bit of a little uptick in your
Okay.
scale weight. That's okay. Here is the reason why. Carbohydrates hold a ton of water. Okay. So carbohydrates hold a ton of water. A lot of this is just going to be refilling your cells and refilling your muscles with the energy that they need. We want to provide the body with enough feedback that it has food to use. Then from there, we start whittling it down some. You're not going to gain a ton of weight. All right. There again, might be a little bit of uptick, but that is okay. Your body's got to learn that it has food to use. So Tina, throughout this whole thing, you've had the fuel to use through your body. You're now to that point of fluctuation, right? You're now to that point of like, all right, well, I've cut down a lot, but now it's either like I feel like I'm starving, or if I start eating too much out of nowhere, I feel like I'm going to start putting on. So you got to retrain that metabolism to, here's this steady supply of protein, fat, and carbs that I can hold on to, and or not hold on to, I can use. I have, my body is able to use it now. And then from there, progress and cut down. It's going to take a little bit for your metabolism to get back used to that. So it might be 2 or 3, it might be 3 weeks. It might be 3 weeks of just trying to maintain that. And you might see a little bit of uptick. Some of it's going to be water. Okay. If you see a 2-pound increase, but you're eating 300, or 200 extra grams of carbs a day that you were not eating before, I guarantee you that's a lot of water. You know how you drop that? You stop eating carbs for 2 or 3 days and it goes away. Don't do that, but it's going to be an uptick in some water weight, but it's going to be a good thing. I promise. It's going to be a good thing. Okay. Anybody else? No? All right. Well, I was hoping to have a few more people on this call so I can answer some more questions, because I know I'm going to get a lot of them. But yeah, I will send you guys out documents I'll send out the slideshow, a few of the directions to follow for the app. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That's it. Juana, did you have any questions? You look very inquisitive. Oh, hold on. I got you. What's going on? Oh, no. Oh, we lost Juana. Okay. Let's see if we get her back. No, maybe. Shawnee disappeared. I don't know where Shawnee went. No, Juana.
She texted me. She said that her battery died.
Oh, her battery died?
She can't go back.
Okay.
Her battery died.
Got it.
That's
Cool.
funny.
All right, guys. That just about covers it. If you have any additional questions, feel free to email me or talk to me at the gym. I will do my best to answer it. And you can go ahead and start setting stuff up and get into it. So, all right. I will catch you later.
Wait, when's the official start date again?
Start, KJ. Start today.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead and get it started. Cool.
My
All right,
one
guys.
or two.
What?
Okay.
Pick one, KJ. Pick one.
Okay.
Okay. All right, guys. Catch you later.